Hi YouTube. Today we're going to be using and testing out the number one pro settings. And the pro is Complex, who has the number one in-game avatar badge for ML, and it's also part of the best combat master team EXT, also known as Extremity, and is also one of the best players in CM history. And I will link his YouTube channel in the description. Also, shout out to, I'm going to put his name on screen for being in the thumbnail, and also shout out to, I'm also going to put his name on the screen for helping me edit the YouTube thumbnail. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. So first of all, Complex uses 1440 by 1080 stretch resolution that makes the game look like this. Now, yes, I was surprised too by this, but in game this gives you a massive advantage because all the characters are way thicker than they would normally be, like way thicker. So when you're in game, you can actually see less around you. That is a disadvantage, but the characters are bigger, so they're easier to hit. But that also comes with a little bit of a downside, that they move a bit faster. But the characters are bigger and everything is more stretched, so you can actually hit the characters way more easily and see more, technically. So yeah. Also, the color settings I find really interesting because Complex uses purple as the kind of kill thing, and I normally use green, but I think I may actually switch to purple because you can see it way better. So when you eliminate someone, you can 100% tell that they're actually eliminated by the massive pop-up on screen with the purple. So I think that's a really good upside. Also, the graphic settings are a mixture of low and ultra for the battle textures. Also, the 3D, the detail distance is nearly all the way at the bottom, and I think this is like actually really good because it saves a bunch of FPS your computer, so it doesn't have to load in the entire, well, things that are further away. Now, yeah, the long distance environment structures are all high and 600, and FOV is also max. That's what I normally use. Also, VSync, Complex uses VSync on, so basically this sticks your FPS to your monitor's hertz, basically. So mine's 240, so if I go in game, it will stick it to 40. That, personally, I don't, like, look at the top right here, see over here, 240 stick. Maybe I could try and make it go down if I move. Yeah, no, well, it won't happen in here, but in a real game you will see that that makes actually a difference. Well, it's normally with lower NPCs you'll use VSync, but actually this is like, I normally don't use this, but this actually helps me when I'm in all ultra settings to just keep a nice consistent FPS. So also in, yeah, so weapon sway obviously 0 because that's really good. Also no camera or anything like this, because yeah. Also controls, I kept all of mine at default, but Complex uses different ones, but I think that's more of just a personal opinion thing, not really a setting. Then sound, obviously the jump sound all the way down, because that's does not help you in game at all, and yeah, that's just not good, that one. So now if we actually go into a game, we will test out these settings. Okay, wow, you can see that low settings is giving me a huge FPS boost, but that also does come with a cost of like lower in-game graphics. But let's test out the stretch res. So let's just go around and kill a few of these. Okay, so now we're in the game. You can definitely tell that the stretch res is on and working, but let's see how it actually. Okay, so now the stretch res and everything is on, and you can also definitely tell that there are low settings. But now let's test out the actual stretch res in game. Okay, yeah, the characters are way easier to hit. the enemies, you can like really see enemies from like long ways away, like a long from like distance. And this is like a massive advantage. So if you don't want to use 1440 by 1440, I'd try and recommend maybe doing 1440 by 1080. That's what I normally use. But this is like actually really good. Like you could hit enemies way easier. Like, do you just see that? Gives you a massive in-game advantage, and it doesn't cost anything. It's free, and you can just do it through an Nvidia control panel, or if you have an AMD graphics card. I don't know what you would use for that, but there is definitely a way. And there's some other external apps that you can use to get stretch resolution. And I would definitely recommend in Combat Master using some stretch resolution, even if it's just for an FPS boost or for an actual visual advantage. I normally use stretch res because it gives you like a visible advantage. But it's all personal opinion, and you can basically do what you want. So yeah, but like, look, I also like the AR aiming sensitivity, and also, yeah, so with this stretch res is the main visual difference. Low settings isn't that much of a visual difference. Like, you can definitely tell it's there if you play on ultra settings normally. Like, I normally play ultra settings. But I think it actually makes it more aware because everything else is not as bright in the game. So you could pay more attention to the actual enemies. Like, see how the fingernails on my skin are, like, way lighter than they would normally be? That's one of the things that low settings do. But yeah, in this, kind of like, it's way harder to miss your shots when using stretch res. And I think this stretch res is actually personally really, really good. And I would actually recommend this. But if it's a bit too stretch for your liking, just use like 1440 by 1080, or you can just use default. But yeah, I think these settings are actually really good. I'd rate them like, well, the sense isn't my sense normally. I use 1600 and just 100 in-game sense. But I think Complex's sense is 1600, and in-game is quite a bit slower than I would normally use. But I would recommend these settings, and these are absolutely amazing. So I would definitely recommend these. And again, huge shout out to Complex for letting me use his settings in a YouTube video.